day so well, like it was yesterday. I remember because I was in the sandpit at school and I looked up. I don't know why, what I did. I looked up and I saw my mum standing in the playground by the goalposts. I remember I just looked up and she was staring at me, smiling with those big red lips of hers. And then she turned and walked away, back through those gates and gone. I remember I thought it was funny that she didn't have a coat on. She was always telling me that I had to wear my coat. I stayed there in that sandpit all afternoon later because nobody came to pick me up. I stayed there waiting to come back and pick me up like she always did. But she never came, and in the end the teacher had to call someone. Dad came eventually and took me away in his old van.
Come on, kid, I'm taking you.
I remember thinking it was funny that we didn't go straight home, we just drove round and round and round, all the streets and that. Dad didn't say a word. I wanted him to notice me and tell me that it was all going to be all right. I wanted him to tell me where Mum had gone. Eventually, I said I was hungry, and we pulled into a McDonald's. Dad said, he said I could pick anything I liked.
You could pick anything you want.
I chose a Happy Meal, chicken nuggets, chips and lemonade. I've got the straws and napkins, extra napkins. But Dad might need them. But he just sat there while I ate, and just looked out through that big window. I wanted him to tell me that it was all going to be all right. Stuck my drink up down the front.
You brats, get to the car now, young lady! Easy!
I got home and Mum wasn't there. I didn't know it then, but that day in the playground was the last time I'd ever seen my mum again. After a while, when I knew she weren't coming back, I started thinking whether it could have been my fault, whether it could have been me that made her want to go away. Dad was always so down. He'd just sit there and drink. I wanted him to tell me that it was all right, that Mum was coming back. But he just sat there. He didn't shout anymore, but he didn't do much else either. So I wanted to fill Mum's space. I wanted to make it all right again. So I cleaned and I tidied. I cleaned and cleaned.
Cleaned and cleaned.
Didn't like clutter.
Didn't like clutter.
Mum didn't like clutter.
Mum, you didn't like clutter.
So I tidied everything away. Kept all the stuff we needed out. Though we didn't need anything anymore. Not now that she was gone. Then I remember one day, as I stood at the top of the stairs, I heard that man from next door say,
Bing bong.
that man from next door came round and said,
Hey, come on, buddy. At least she's not dead.
What? Just get out now. Leave,
All
please,
right,
just
all right,
leave!
all right.
Dad slammed the door in his man's face. It was from that moment on that I knew something was different. Something had changed. After a while, I started thinking about death, heaven and hell. I prayed daily, at night in the dark.
Our Father
Under
who
my
art in
breath,
heaven,
I just prayed.
hallowed be thy
I
name.
didn't have my
Thy
eyes
kingdom
shut
come,
completely
thy
tight in
will be
certain
done,
ways to take
on
them.
earth as it
And
is
I
in
had to
heaven.
repeat them.
Give
I had
us
to.
this day our
If
daily
we were
bread.
all going to
Forgive
die,
us our
then we had
trespasses,
to go to
as
heaven.
we forgive
You had
those
to
who
go to heaven.
trespass
I did
against
it
us.
today.
Lead us
Under
not
my
into
breath.
temptation,
Had my eyes
deliver us from
closed.
evil.
And I could
Thine
hear
is the
people laughing at
kingdom,
school.
the power and the
They just
glory,
laughed.
forever and ever.
I
Amen.
had to do it. Bleach became my thing. I'd use it everywhere. I know it comes with, warnings on the bottle. But it's better to be safe than sorry. That's what Mum used to say about my coat and that. So I'd use bleach everywhere, but then I had to wash my hands after.
Washing, scrubbing, washing, scrubbing,
Jean, please.
And
Scrubbing,
washing,
scrubbing,
my hands at night.
washing,
And to check
Please,
over
scrubbing,
the
please,
things.
please.
To check them over and over. To check each one 4 or 5 times. And then move on to the next one. Check that one 5 times too. And then the next one 4 or 5 times. And the next one. To check that one 5 times too. In case that was the one that was going to break and hurt someone. Hurt my dad even more. Light switches were the worst for me. Turn them off 6 times before I could leave the room. Then I had to turn around and backwards. Then that's right. I had to spin around on the floor. Back out of the room. Close the door and off. After a while, I stopped going out. I mean, I'd moved around so many times that, well, it sort of gave me an excuse not to go out, I suppose. So I stayed inside, and I cleaned, and I tidied, put everything away. I used to hate computers, but when you're alone and lonely for so long, that little bit of contact, or just that possibility of contact. So I'd go on my computer, I know I'd have to clean it afterwards. That was the most frustrating. All those little keys. But then I'd think of something bad happened, so I'd do it. I'd go on the internet and I'd look up everything. I joined a new book the other day. An OCD blog.